Hello, I'm Esther from Navozyme, and I would like to welcome you to today's webinar. For those of you who may not know, at Navozyme, we are developing cutting-edge technology solutions to accelerate maritime decarbonization and to raise the safety and the productivity of the global maritime industry. We are delighted to have you join us in the latest edition of the Knowledge Series, where we'll be learning about the state of Filipino seafarers and how they are supported by the Associated Marine Officers and Seamen's Union of the Philippines, otherwise known as AMOSUP. For today's conversation, our esteemed guest is Dr. Conrad Oca. Dr. Oca is the president of AMOSUP and holds key positions on the executive board of the International Transport Workers Federation and chairs the board of governors for the Maritime Academy of Asia and the Pacific. This session will be moderated by Anjaney Borwankar, Navozyme's co-founder and chief executive. So without further delay, I'll pass it over to you now, Anjan. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Esther from Barcelona. So this is a special occasion for me, and it's actually late afternoon here in Manila. So we have a global audience. We were looking at the list of people registered, and more than a dozen countries represented here. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you. And welcome again to this webinar series. This one is being done as part of the KNOW series, where we like to disseminate knowledge and bring industry leaders to share their thoughts with the wider community. So it's an honor and privilege to have Dr. Oca with us today. And he's the president of AMOSUP, one of the largest seafarer union in the world. And you have a great responsibility ahead of you. So welcome and thank you for joining us. We're going to have a conversation. That's the format we agreed, right? So there won't be any long speeches or anything. We'll also keep this apolitical. So the idea is not to get into deep discussions on the affairs of the world, which is quite chaotic right now, to say the least. But we are interested as seafarers, as the maritime community, to understand more about what's being done in AMOSUP. Who are there? Actually, some of you are very familiar and some of you may be very new to this organization. So we will go step by step. And what inspires me in this conversation as I was preparing for it is that it's a great example of continuity, of leadership, of vision. And those leaders who are actually listening, I hope you will agree that it's also going to be very inspiring for you to continue to do your work of transforming the maritime industry, which is also the mission of Navozyme. So Dr. Oca, Dr. Conrad Oca, actually needs no introduction in the maritime world in the Philippines, but I'm still going to say a few things. And not so much what you will just see on his CV. He's a medical doctor. He comes from a seafaring family. His father is very well known, Captain Gregorio Oca, and he's the founder of AMOSUP. We'll talk about the vision, the history here a little bit. We'll start with that. And as already mentioned by Esther, he wears several hats, whether it's ITF, whether it's part of the chair of MAP, the Maritime Academy of Asia and Pacific, again, a leading training institution in the world, one of the leading, if not the leading, in the Philippines. And again, Navozyme has been working very closely with them for some time. So thanks for that support also that we got right from the start. So without further ado, I'm going to basically ask some questions. And then the audience which is there, I have a team here who's helping me as well. You can post your questions on the chat, right? And we can take some of those questions from you as well. So we'll keep this at a conversation level. For those of you who stick around till the end, and believe me, Dr. Oca is very jovial. He may even crack a joke or two in the middle. And so I think you will find this entertaining. So though we'll be speaking over the next half an hour or so, and then we'll take your questions, I think you'll find this very entertaining. So you will not only be listening to my voice, okay, going forward, but if you stick around, you will also get a blockchain-enabled electronic certificate of attendance directly on your phones, right? So this is again,
You get the
this
price.
is a price that we can give. A small.
Exciting.
Okay, so
Can I,
Dr.
can,
Oka.
can I exchange that price for something like go to the supermarket? And
Oh,
buy
not yet,
chocolate?
not yet. But good idea. Coming soon. Maybe those, no, those goodies. So again, now coming to you, Dr. Oka. So firstly, welcome again. Maybe you can start by telling us a little bit about the origins of AMOSUP and perhaps some key milestones you think which have helped form what AMOSUP is today.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to thank you, Anjan, for having me here. Also, Esther. I believe Esther is in Spain.
That's right. She's in Barcelona.
So the wonders of technology.
Yes.
Yeah, so I hope you call me Conrad.
Thank you.
And
I'll call you that.
if you call me Dr. Oca, I feel like you're my patient. And I'm an obstetrician, so I don't think it's working.
Thank you. I'll call you Conrad.
Yeah, so yeah, again, I'd like to thank you and Esther and Navozyme for having us here today in your webinar series. Also, Tomas also who's somewhere up there.
Yes, there's a whole team, no? Coming from your side, Thomas, and helped really organize this as well.
Yeah, a wonderful team, and hopefully we can collaborate with each other for a long time. And as for your question, AMOSUP, or the Associated Marine Officers and Seafarers Union of the Philippines, was founded by Captain Gregorio Oca in 1960. So we will be celebrating our 64th. I'm not very good at that. So that's why I became a doctor. So I will be celebrating our 64th anniversary this year. So it started because my father was a master mariner, and we come from a very long line of labor leaders. His brother was a labor leader, and he was a very famous labor leader also here in the Philippines. He organized the dock workers. So I believe that my uncle had a very big influence on my father. So he organized the labor movement for seafarers here in the Philippines, one of the first really, and he saw the plight of our seafarers really, and in the ships, both domestic and international. So he wanted to organize them so that we can have better wages, better working conditions, more welfare for everybody, not only for them, but their families as well. So he organized our union, the AMOSUP, together with Brother Donato Alarcon, who was organizing the ratings. So he organized the officers, and Brother Alarcon organized the ratings. And then sometime after some years, they merged together and formed AMOSUP because they believed that working together, they could be better force in getting whatever the seafarers deserve. So they worked together. So during the 70s, I think it was during the 70s and 80s that we're able to really prop up our status as a labor movement, because we affiliated with the International Transport Workers Federation. And it was a big help really for us, especially during the port strikes in the 1950s and the 1960s. So my uncle was affiliated with the ITF during those times. And then because the ITF is a Transport Workers Federation, we also joined in. And I think I saw in the list our General Secretary, my boss, Steve Cotton, is on the line, and if he's out there, shout out to you. So, my Captain Oca wanted to give more benefits for our seafarers. So not only for the wages, and thus their salaries and wages, but also welfare benefits. That's why he started different welfare programs for our seafarers and their members, not only just for the seafarers, but also their families as well. So we include the families in our activities, in our welfare services. So our services are, you might say, from boom to tomb, cradle to grave, because we have different facilities. We have hospitals all over the Philippines, tertiary hospitals catering to our members and their dependents. We have one here in Manila, in Cebu, Iloilo, Davao, and Bacolod. We also have a satellite clinic in Dagupan and up north. And then soon we will be opening one in Cagayan de Oro City in Mindanao. So we try to be present in all the islands here in the Philippines, most of the islands here in the Philippines, or most of the provinces here in the Philippines. So we also have, aside from that, we have dormitories. All of these are free of charge. We don't charge anything, except maybe because of the benevolence of the ship owners and our social partners. They are able to fund these facilities. So we also have a grocery for our seafarers who want to avail of basic commodities on a check-off basis. We also have a sailor's home or a dormitory where they can stay free of charge whenever they're in Manila or in the provinces. So that whenever they want to stay, whenever they want to have, for example, they come to the cities for training or paperwork or whatever, they can stay there for free. We also have sports facilities or activity centers where our dependents and our seafarers can avail of them so that they can, our physical and mental well-being are well taken care of. So in the part of training, we have the Maritime Academy of Asia and the Pacific.
Yes.
So this is an academy for soon-to-be officers, really, because as you know, there's a big shortage of officers right now in the world, and we're trying to bridge this gap by having the Maritime Academy of Asia and the Pacific, where we graduate future officers for the worldwide security. So
wide variety of
wide variety.
Yes.
So that's why I said our services are for whom to do.
From whom to wow. Yes, and it's what I have seen already, right? And again, Mark, the Maritime Academy of Asian Pacific, is already familiar to us. I visited that. You know, Vice Admiral Santos has been quite kind and pioneering also to adopt these electronic certificates and systems for the seafarers. So we are familiar with the training part, but what I have now on this trip actually really appreciated quite a lot is all the welfare services that you're providing, not just for the seafarers, but also their families.
Yes.
Because the uniqueness of a seafarer is that while the seafarer is working, they're not next to the family.
Yes.
So I've been a seafarer myself. Of course, this was many decades ago where I was a bachelor.
It seemed like it's not decades ago. Seems like yesterday.
Yeah, I like praise and compliments, but you know that that's not true.
Because you look very.
Oh, I'm not going to disclose my age on this.
You look like a movie star.
Well, thank you for the compliment. But since you mentioned this, no, I took a photo when I visited a few days ago of the entrance, no, of the Seamen's home, and there's a plaque which basically says the following, right? A home away from home for Filipino seafarers, and then it says, miles from home for months on end, seafarers can find themselves in distant ports, faced with all manner of difficulties, ranging from isolation to loneliness, to the emotional strain of life away from family and friends, from an unknown source.
Yes.
Right? And this resonates a lot with me. It now, I think, resonates with a lot of people because COVID has shown that you don't need to be at sea to understand the seafaring, right? Many of the people were isolated. But this is something, it's at the heart of the mission of AMOSUP, from what I am gathering, right? You may have other words for it, but it's a deep purpose. So, this is what I find inspiring. And many people have this vision, but then to translate that into reality and keep growing and to, actually make it useful, it's not so easy. Because, and that's what I want to get to, how you have been able to do that as an organization. So I just want to give some statistics for those who are not, again, familiar with AMOSUP. Just the big numbers, right? We are talking here about 110,000 members. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, right? And again, you classify that as active and inactive. Active means those who were on board the ships, and inactive means those who are more than 6 months away. That means they haven't joined the ship again within 6 months. So I would be an inactive one for a long, long time, right? That's one. But that's not the only impact. The impact here is their families. You provide to, if you're single, no, to their siblings, to their parents, etc. If they're married, to their spouse and their children, all that. So when you add those numbers, we're talking around, easily an impact of close to 500,000 people, maybe even more, right? This is direct impact. If you do indirect impact, others supporting them, it's a very large number, right? And all this starts with somebody's vision, right? So this is what I mean. I'm very interested also in how organizations scale, right? And in a sustainable way. So this is just for the audience to know what we are talking about, right? And it's a very, very large impact that we are talking about, right? So you already mentioned a lot of different initiatives, and I'm going to maybe zoom in for the sake of time. We don't have time for all the different topics, which would be other webinars in the future, right? But today on the welfare piece, and here we're talking of welfare also on the mental health, right? And given that you're a medical doctor, maybe you can also give your observations of what you have seen, perhaps post-COVID. Now what's the situation of sailors? Is there anything that you're seeing, any challenge on the mental health part? Any suggestions you have also as a medical doctor so that they can, whoever is listening, and some of them will probably listen to this if they're not connected right now from the ships. So let's talk about mental health of seafarers. Has there been any change? And what are your suggestions to improve that?
Yeah, because it's very difficult really for seafarers, especially if you're for an ordinary person, if you're far away from home. And even like our overseas Filipino workers, they're far away from home. We also have a lot of challenges, both the sea-based and land-based. And we are, how do I say it? We're very lucky that we have a hospital that we can cater to our seafarers regarding their mental health. In fact, we have a mental health hotline. We have a hotline for seafarers.
Okay.
They can call in. They can call in regarding anything health related. If it's mental health or they're feeling something, they can call in, and then they can call in, and there are a staff of medical doctors, nurses, paramedical personnel who are trained. We call them responders, who answer their questions. So this was very useful, especially during COVID. We had a lot of use for.
So just to clarify, are you saying this emergency, let's say, call center helpline that you created, is it available to anyone?
Yes, it's available to anyone.
So from the ship also they could be calling.
Yes.
Okay.
And
okay.
so they're flashing a sign telling me you are not alone.
Oh wow. Yeah. So thanks, Camille, for this. You may not be able to see this, but basically there is a poster, right, which basically says you are not alone on mental health awareness. Talk to us, and there are many numbers that they can call. Yeah. So fantastic.
So we were very fortunate, especially during the COVID. We were able to vaccinate close to maybe 100,000 people, seafarers and seafarers and Filipino citizens as well, because we were given vaccines by the government for free. So we just had to inoculate. Since we have a hospital, we have the personnel, we have the materials, we have the syringes and everything to give them to inoculate or give them the vaccine. So we were very lucky that we were. There was a first tier. There's a tier there.
Yes, who gets preference?
Who gets preference?
Yes.
So we were able to lobby the government, the seafarers, go to the top.
Wow.
Become the top. And so because we lobbied for it, they gave us the vaccines, and we were able to not only seafarers, but whoever. I think we around how many did we lock them? Was 200,000.
Right, right. So no, this is amazing. So you just stated two concrete examples of the support that is being provided for the well-being of seafarers, right? And the mental health, again, this is also a shout out to all of you that AMOSUP is there wherever you are. So
Yes.
you're just a phone line away if you need help, right? And it can get really lonely. So
Yes.
it's not something to be shy of. It's natural. But if you just leave it to yourself, it's a dangerous situation.
It's just, I mean, just a matter of having someone to talk to.
Correct.
Sometimes it's as easy as it's as simple as that.
Right, right.
So, and expect someone to talk to in your own language, right?
Oh, very interesting, and thanks for sharing this. So moving to some other parts, which I'm interested also.
Sorry, but, excuse me.
Yeah,
But
please.
we also have a psychiatrist on board, a psychologist on board, and then periodically we assess the situation and have a public and give out some reports regarding the situation, regarding mental health, not only the mental health, but the physical well-being of our seafarers on board, because they call for different ailments and give us assistance. So,
Are you seeing any trends in which, especially for the AMOSUP members, because you're able to monitor their health, they come to your centers, it's all integrated. So on the mental health side, are you seeing any changes? And I'm asking this question because, as a leader of a small growing organization, and many of us are actually based in Europe also, the statistics are really appalling in
Yes,
society,
yes.
right? More than a quarter of people are clinically diagnosed with depression. So that means there's another larger percentage which are not yet diagnosed, right? So I always imagine this. We are in a room, I have a meeting with 10 people, and 3 of them
are depressed.
are depressed. Wow. And it's increasing, right? So this is, because on the ship, it becomes not just a problem, it's also dangerous.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. So what are you observing on that topic?
So right now, what we see is that, I mean, the thing about mental health awareness and mental health is that people sometimes are reluctant to talk to other people regarding what they're feeling. So you see that you see reluctance there in that part. Although we really do not see an increase in the number of people calling, there might be a lot out there, as you said, that are not being seen or diagnosed. So maybe it's a matter of us seeking out in a way who these people are and where they are and where they are from, so that we can do a deep dive really in what's happening there.
No, thanks for sharing this. So again, it's a shout out to everyone who's listening to submit your questions via the chat. If some are coming in, I think Camille, maybe you can help me to look at those questions also. I'll ask 1 or 2 more questions, and then I'll take the questions from the audience. I can see Captain Stephen Thomas. Actually, he's an advisory board member of Navozyme. So we'll pick up his question in a moment. So let me get on to one more topic, and then we'll jump into the different questions, right? So meanwhile, again, please keep submitting, and we'll collect that, and then we'll spend some time with the audience on that. So here, one thing I wanted to shift to, because behind us, we have this photo of your father, the founder of AMOSUP. And there are lots of ships here as well, right? So I'm feeling at home. But what you have, and I saw a short video of that, was the training vessel that you have actually commissioned recently, and you have put the name of your father as well. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about this training ship that is very active today, also training seafarers, because there are very few like that still remaining in the world. I was on a training ship which was floating in the sea, but that was the last. So after that, it got decommissioned and then became an academy, shore-based academy. But you still have something floating there. So Can you share a bit more about that?
So we have two training ships. One is the Capitan Gregorio Oca, named after my father, and the other is the Capitan Felix Oca, named after my grandfather. He was also a master mariner.
Right.
So the Cape Gregorio or KGO is exclusively used by the Japanese cadets or cadets, not Japanese cadets, Filipino cadets who are supposed to board Japanese flag vessels or Japanese cadets. So that's what they use because they're the ones who funded that.
They sponsored that.
They sponsored the training ship. The other training ship is Capitan Felix Oca. It was originally also a Japanese training ship, the Seamen, and this one is used by our, but also can be used by others who want to complete their sea training on board training ships or on board ships, because there's a requirement for them to be on board either a training ship or some shipboard experience. So this is those two ships are being used not only by us in our academy, but also other schools as well can use them. So we try to, because it's very difficult to become an officer if you do not have the sea experience. So we try to bridge that gap in training cadets to become officers as required by our educational system.
No, thanks for sharing that. It's clear that whether it's the training of the seafarers through MAP, through the ships that you have, you're really keeping the standards very high and even raising them, right? So this is also, we work with a number of different academies also across the globe. And it's good for them also to hear what kind of work is going on here, because often it's at a distance, especially from the European side of things. So thanks for sharing this.
It's very hard to become a seafarer if you haven't seen the inside of
yes, but you'll be surprised how many people actually in some countries, because of other economic forces, are getting trained to become navigators or chief engineers, etc., and they don't go on a ship. Right. So I think that's a different topic altogether, but this whole industry is transforming.
Mm-hmm.
So in Navozyme, I've been on a ship for many years, but there are many people in my team who are trained for nautical sciences, etc., but they have not been on a ship. Yeah,
they can always come here and
yes, so maybe I will take up that offer to bring them and visit your ships, etc. Oh, good, excellent. So maybe now I can take some of those questions which are there. Yeah, we'll start with Captain Stephen Thomas's question, and he's a master for many years on a super yacht. Yeah, so his question is particularly about the Filipino seafarers that are also increasingly seen in the super yacht industry, right? And basically, I'll just read out his question, right? His question says, the large yacht sector enjoys the services of a considerable number of Filipino seafarers. I myself have employed Filipino crews since 1991. Major frustration to the rigidity of the crewing regulations. Right? A major frustration is the rigidity of the crewing regulations. And one example is the inability to give crew short leaves to come home for important family events, for instance, without their contracts expiring when they land in the Philippines. Now, this is a very specific part of the maritime industry, and it works also quite different from the commercial ships, right? On the commercial ships, you go and you're there for 6 months, 9 months, now maybe shorter periods, and then you come back and then you're on holiday. In this large yacht sector, they're basically with that yacht, sometimes for many, many years, yeah? And they're staying on land, right? And they're going whenever the yacht is commissioned. So basically, they are on standby, but they can actually, go home and come back, etc. And that's where sometimes some of those rules may not function for this particular industry. So I think it's a good point that Captain Thomas is bringing up, more from a consideration to see in the future, because as this industry is growing and more Filipino seafarers are joining this industry, this is something that will keep rising. So probably it's a small percentage of your members right now, but it's an increasing percentage.
Yes.
Right? And so it's a unique problem for those who face it.
And we have members also who are on board Super Yacht.
Mhm.
We have some of them, and it's we always want negotiate that people have a right to go on leave, right? So especially for reasons like a family emergency, so we negotiate that, and then and also for shore leaves, we also want
Yes.
seafarers because of the COVID restriction before and everything, and some port states do not want. We try our best really for people to be able to get shore leaves, but the problem is so much restriction all over the domestic communities. So, but we are still trying our best really to amend this and have people, have seafarers have shore leaves also. And part of our CBAs also is part for leaves for humanitarian reasons. So we try to put that in our CBAs.
I see. Yeah, so here this actually leads quite well to the other topic I want to explore a little bit, which is the strength of Navozyme actually, right? So within our mission is to basically enable positive digital transformation. We had a conversation on that earlier in one of the meetings, and also decarbonization, and also helping with basically technology as an enabler. So here there are, of course, you're providing lots of services, and ships have lots of procedures. So we work across different sectors. I won't get into pitching all our solutions right now. That's not the purpose. But the point I want to make is when you have a digital trail for your processes, not that it's the easiest, but it is definitely more easy than if it's a physical trail to make a change,
Yes.
right? So as complexity rises, as you get more and more groups, right? And the super yacht is one of those industry, which is a specific industry initially maybe not there and then really rising, right? But you may get other pockets of such needs, and then to pass that change across the various centers you have across the Philippines, right? You're not only in Manila, and you have a large organization today, so very easy when it's a small organization to make a change. But so on the digital side of things, can you share a little bit some of the initiatives that you may be doing or you're considering?
Yeah, for our, it's it's our dream really is at the tip of your finger. Information is right there in front of you. So we've been doing that in our hospitals, especially with the hospital information systems. Even digitalize our hospital information systems, especially for the medical records. We've been doing that for a long time already. And technology really evolves. And we also want to digitize also. I'm not sure if you like that word, digitize.
That's fine. Yes, I always make the difference between digitize and digitalize.
Digitalize,
but I think
digitalize.
we don't get into that right.
Okay.
Yes.
So also for our records also. But right now we still have mass loads of paper in our and we really would like to digitize all records so that it will be easier for our members and their dependents to get their information. And as I said, at the tip of the finger, they can get it. So maybe with your help.
No, very happy to help along those lines, right? That's precisely why we exist. But yeah, thanks for sharing this. As more questions come in, and keep alerting me, Camille or Thomas, right? Thomas, you can even send me some of those questions directly on the phone if they are. But I have a stock of questions that have come in already from my team as well.
I hope that they're not very hard. I
We'll
hope
see.
they are questions that
We'll
I could
see.
easily answer.
I think so. They're not only questions that you can easily answer, they are only questions that only you can answer.
I can answer.
Because we're going to move a little bit on your personal journey,
Okay.
right?
Are you going to ask about my love life?
If you want. So one of the things I've observed, of Conrad is that he's a very jovial person, right? I met him. We just got to know each other a few days ago in person, right? I've heard about you some time back, but I find that though you have a lot of responsibility, that you're, as we said before, on the boards of several organizations, but you've managed to keep yourself really light. Yeah, you've not burdened yourself, with a serious face or something that scares other people, etc. And that's actually the sign of mental well-being for me, right? So you're a great example for all the people. If you think you're carrying a lot on your shoulders, just look at at Conrad here. So I want to go, if you allow me, a little bit personal, okay? And again, with the idea of inspiring those young or mature leaders. And so what has driven you? You come from a seagoing family, but you chose the medical profession. And of course, you found a very impactful work in that, where you've connected it also to seafarers, right? But today, what is it that drives you? What is your personal ambition? What are your personal next step? Where would you like to see the organization grow? Or personally, what would you like to do?
I thought you were going to ask the hard questions.
Is this hard one or an easy one?
Well, of course, everybody want. We are a labor union. We work with our members and their dependents, with people, and you really want to have people to be progressive, to have a good life, right? It's basically, that's it, good life for them and their family. Right? So we aim for a continuous gainful employment of Filipino seafarers. And not only that aspect, but also, as you said, the aspect of bringing up their families, giving welfare to their families. It's not. You have to. If everybody's happy, then we're all happy, right? Yeah, that's simplest way of putting it. So that's why we built all these facilities, so that the burden is not on the seafarer, because the seafarer is already burdened with work, going away from the family. So I hopefully that when they come here, they won't be burdened with all those problems, like coming here, looking for a place to stay, having food to eat, or even their retirement. We also have a provident fund, where the employers contribute for the seafarers who want to retire. So we have that also, and we really try our best. But as the song goes, I did my best, but I hope that my best is good enough, right?
Well, it looks like it's actually set a standard for the world, right? So the facilities you have are world class. I have not yet visited the hospitals, but some of my colleagues have, and the message has always been, this is not, often because the connotation of free in certain countries, and I am coming from a nation where free is not seen as a high quality. It's actually just the opposite here. That's a very refreshing thing for me. Even this place where you have a studio for running webinars. I mean, we were thinking of finding
this was because of COVID.
But still, it's amazing the kind of thing. I was also impressed in the conversations I've had in the Philippines with the different ecosystem partners, and the history is a little bit right, that because if you go to other countries, in some countries today, it's still that the seafarer is seen as someone who went out to sea because you couldn't get any other job. But that's not actually at all true. Here, it's the highest standard. It's the most selected person. They have a very difficult selection process. and then you're giving them world-class services, right? So the best of the best actually choose seafaring here in the Philippines, and that transformation at the national level is amazing. So not just to you, but I think the whole community that has worked very hard and achieved that, it's remarkable. And it makes me proud, right? Because as a seafarer, that's what we want.
So that's we'd like to really think that seafaring is a preferred profession here in the Philippines. And you know, not to boast, but if you go to the provinces, if you see a house in a village in the province, the nicest house comes from the seafarer.
Right. Yeah. And that's where the economics have worked very well, right? So you have, through AMOSUP, played a role where you have actually, put the message in front of the owners that they pay a contribution, but you use that contribution basically for the welfare of the seafarers, right? So otherwise, it just becomes a cost-cutting exercise,
Yes,
right? Often. But here, I think you've got a good formula going. So
and I think that if people see that the seafaring life is a good profession, they will be enticed to go into the profession themselves.
Right.
Not only to become a seafarer, but also to become a
Right. So we are coming towards the closing part, right? Another few minutes, maybe 10 minutes or so. So again, if there's anyone with any question, don't feel shy. Yeah, we'll try to answer. So what is your message to the larger community that's listening here, right? What would you like them to know about AMOSUP, which we haven't maybe talked about yet?
Yes, we at AMOSUP are really trying our best to improve the life of the seafarers here in the Philippines. Not only for our members, but other seafarers as well. Because, sooner or later, you might be involved in a vessel that has a CBA with AMOSUP. So we tried our best really to be inclusive for everybody. And yeah, we're here to help everybody. We're here to help our seafarers, and please do not hesitate in coming to us if there is something that needs to be done. Not only in your life as a seafarer, but also in other things as well, because we have other facilities that can handle and personnel that can handle some of your problems, but not your love.
Understood. Yes. So in the cradle to grave, the heart is taken care of, medically speaking, and the welfare is taken care of from the helpline, etc. But you haven't got yet the dating agency. So the opportunity always works out.
Maybe soon with the digitalization.
Yes, Tinder for. Okay. On a more serious note, and this is again towards the end. So, it's again a message you may want to leave for the larger community that's listening. So, are there any challenges that the organization is seeing or foreseeing in the future, and if yes, what help or what kind of information should people support you with, right? Including in this audience, we have owners, we have all kinds of people listening in.
And there are so many challenges really that are facing the world we're facing right now. So yeah, with the advent of technology, seafarers are saying that we might have no more jobs anymore. But I don't think this will be true, or this will come in the near future, because we have to retrain. We have to retrain and see what the future really lies for us. Also, with the advent of with the fuel, right? Alternative fuels, with the industrialization. So there's so many things right now that are challenging the world, especially with what's happening in the world situation. So many conflicts happening all over the world. Just yesterday, we had a meeting with our social partners regarding warlike and warlike operations, high-risk areas, and it's these places are expanding and expanding, and just right now we have a ship right now with mixed crew with I think 17 Filipinos on board the Galaxy Leader. Hopefully that we can bring all the seafarers home, not only the Filipinos but everyone who are there. So there's so many challenges facing the world right now. And, I think if we act as one, if we act together, ship owners, the labor, government, the spirit of tripartism, if we act as one, we can easily solve all of these problems. But let's hope that I mean, the challenges, there will always be challenges coming our way. If you have one challenge is already solved, another becomes. So we just have to be constantly aware of them.
Yeah, I would even argue that this is what makes also AMOSUP even more relevant as a voice of the seafaring community, because these geopolitical uncertainty today, this is unprecedented, right? That you get in the 21st century missiles coming at ships, like commercial ships in waters of high trading zones. Right, we have prepared. I have prepared for piracy and things like that, but I'm not prepared for missiles coming and hitting my ship. Right, so these are really changes that are unpredictable. Right, these are things where we're not offering any solution or anything like that, but I think we need a voice to at least express that concern. Right.
And it's just a matter of everybody coming together and working as one.
Yes.
And I'm sure we can solve these challenges.
Yes. So also the decarbonization, I think what I've seen is, yes, it's a challenge, but it also means getting retrained, being even more competent, right? And you're already well versed with that because you're selecting the best of the best. You have world-class facilities, and it's mainly being informed on. You work so closely with the ship owners as well, right? They're funding. They're sponsoring also some of the training institutes, etc. So I think Philippines is one of the best suited places for actually helping the chain. No, because if you see in some of the other places, there are legacy systems at play. So not that they don't have the best intentions, but the way they are structured is really difficult to change in the short run, and that gives them a disadvantage, right? So. I think this is very interesting to see. This is why also for us as Navozyme, it's Philippines is a strategic nation for us for quite some time, right? And again, having worked with Filipino seafarers in my olden days, it was really fun also, right? Every Filipino knows how to sing. It's a fact,
except,
right? You can sing, right? I'm not going to ask you to sing.
Except me. I'm sorry.
And play the guitar, and that's great well-being on the ship, right? So on a more positive note, and to end with a positive note, I think is a good thing. There's also, I think, the statistics that we were looking at before suggest that more than 5%, in the 5 to 10% range, are actually female members, right, within the AMOSUP membership. And this is way above the percentage of women on board ships, or that percentage is estimated as under 2%, right? So you're doing, again, very, very strong on that. You're really doing very strong on that, right? So what is the secret? Of course, Philippines has been a matriarchal society in the past, right? And even today, you see very strong women leaders. But any thoughts on that? And whatever secret you have, please share it with everyone. Because we need more.
If I share it, it won't be a secret anymore.
Yeah, but it will help everyone.
There's no secret. I mean, it's just a matter of having your mindset to have an inclusive mindset to include everybody, right? Not only females, but also the LGBTQI, to not to what's the word? No prejudice, right? No prejudice.
Yes.
It's just a matter of being inclusive. So here we at AMOSUP, we're trying to build our female members, especially in the cruise industry. There's a lot of females in the cruise industry. But not only that, but also in the traditional seafaring, traditional ships also. We have graduated in our academy the first Filipino chief engineer. So we have several ship master mariners who are female. And we strive, we ask them really to go for the top, really, not only for the men but also for the women. And we are lucky that we have some females who are masters in the ship, who work as masters on the ship, and we've had a good experience with them.
Yes. Actually, on that, it just reminded me that we in this Navozyme webinar series, we've had Captain Maria Javalena, basically, who's an alumnus of MAP in the talks, talking about her story.
Yes.
And also in this webinar series that we're doing in the future, we're actually organizing one on women leadership in maritime. So you know what you said connects really well. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah. So we're coming to the end, and I'd like to start wrapping up. So any final comments or suggestions you have for the younger Filipino seafarers, your members who are listening also actively here? Anything you want to say to them?
Yeah, seafaring is a very noble and a wonderful profession. I mean, I'm sure that you have relatives who are seafarers, and they, how do you say it? They bring home the bacon. So, if you intend to have a career in the seafaring industry, and I believe you won't regret it. Like my father, he doesn't regret having me. So, I hope.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all your thoughts here, for letting us know also in greater detail, not just the history of AMOSUP, its origins, but also some of the plans you have for the future, right? And the services that are available here, both for the physical, mental, and family well-being of seafarers. So as a former seafarer, I also feel very grateful for having you here. So thank you.
Thank you very much for having us, and hopefully this won't be the last.
No, this is just the start.
Hopefully we can invite you more to our facilities.
Thank you.
Whenever you're.
So I haven't forgotten the offer to bring the team and visit the training ship.
No problem. Anytime, just tell
That
us.
would be great.
Anytime.
No, so again, thank you for listening in.
I hope you bring Esther.
Esther is listening. I think she's going to smile at the end. So here again, all of you, thank you for listening in. This will be recorded. This is being recorded, and it will go on other different channels like YouTube, etc. So share it with other people who may have an interest in knowing about AMOSUP and what's going on in the Filipino seafaring community. You will also get your blockchain-enabled electronic certificates automatically just after this webinar. So take a look at that. And let us have your suggestions for future topics also that would be of interest for you. So thanks for listening. I'm going to pass it back to my colleague in Barcelona, Esther Avila, and she can give some other, concluding remarks and next steps about, future webinars, etc. So again, thank you, everyone. A big thanks also to the entire AMOSUP team for making this happen. So we have a lot of people here. And also to the Navozyme team, there's been plenty of preparation before this could take place, and I really appreciate the hospitality.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So back to you, Esther.
Thank you, Anjan, and thank you very much, Dr. Oca, for sharing your insights with all of us. We also wanted to say thank you for everyone for connecting with us today, and we hope you enjoyed this session. Just so you know, you'll soon be receiving the link of the recording via email. And as Anjan mentioned, you will also receive a Navozyme blockchain-enabled e-certificate for participating on the webinar. So be sure to check your emails. You can follow us on our LinkedIn page so that you don't miss out on any of our updates. So just thank you again, and we hope to see you on our next webinar.